Greetings, everyone who is joining us today here in the World Wide Web wherever you are.com. I am so excited to be here with the Ryan D. Davis, and I am the Crystal C. Mercer, and we're going to talk
Right.
about the Winthrop Rockefeller Foundation's Micah Fellows Program. I'm so excited. We're going to just give everybody an overview of the program, what it looks like, what the requirements are for people who apply, and what the application process will be. And then, Ryan, for you to talk a little bit more about your role as the faith coordinator for the Micah Fellows Program and just what all that entails, because you're such a dynamic person. And so I'm happy and ready to jump in. So if you could start us off with an overview of the Micah Fellows Program. I know that Winthrop Rockefeller Foundation has a huge hand in this, but a little bit about the program and some of the other partners that are involved.
Yeah, absolutely. So, well, first and foremost, I'm glad to be here with you, Crystal C.C. Mercer.
Yes.
You and all the manifestations of your talents can be overwhelming, but you know what I'm saying. I think we're gonna be all right as long as Crystal Mercer's around.
Yes.
So we're talking about the Micah Fellowship Program. The Micah Fellowship Program, of course, is an initiative of the Winthrop Rockefeller Foundation, based right here in the state of Arkansas, in partnership with the Faith Matters Network, with the Methodist Foundation of Arkansas, and with Auburn Theological Seminary, all of whom play very particular parts in how this fellowship is administered. The fellowship comes out of, or is inextricably connected to, Winthrop Rockefeller Foundation's ALICE initiative. ALICE, of course, is asset limited, income constrained, and employed. ALICE is a descriptor for a lot of people, families in particular, in the state of Arkansas, those who are living with limited assets, living in constrained incomes, the kind of constrained incomes that has you making a decision between prescribed medicine and food, the kind of asset limitations that has you kind of struggling between making arrangements for a light bill and paying your rent or your mortgage on time. And then what all these folks have in common is that they are employed, and I think it was very important to include that in our discussion of poverty in Arkansas, that the vast majority of poor people in the state are folks who work a job. Because I think we've been poisoned in our minds sometimes to believe that poverty comes from some sort of lack of work ethic, some sort of character thing. So I think it was very important and grateful to Rockefeller for making sure to emphasize that we're talking about. And Alice's importance for this program, for the Micah Fellowship Program, is that Alice describes at least 50% of the folks in Arkansas, folks who work, and again, like I said, 2 or 3 jobs, but are unable to make ends meet, folks who are one disaster, one accident, and in this case, because this has been laid bare in this past year, one pandemic away from financial ruin. I dare say that were it not for the actions of the federal government to undergird folks, that a lot of folks would have fallen into more crippling manifestations of poverty. And so, not to get too deep into the Alice initiative.
No, let's go get deep into it, because people do not know. They think about Alice in Wonderland. We talking about Alice in Arkansas. So yeah, go.
Alice on the ground.
Look,
Alice with her back against the wall.
Yes,
and that's how a lot of folks are living. The great one of America's greatest theologians, Howard Thurman, in his seminal text, Jesus and the Disinherited, talked about folks who live with their backs against the wall. And that's a great descriptor for me, because, a wall suggests to me that it can be dismantled, right? That we have the tools, the coffers of federal, state, and local, and have the opportunity to present folks with an opportunity to live in a way that's limitless. Like folks ought not be hungry. Folks ought not be struggling with what I think are necessities like internet access. Folks ought not be making decisions that pit their health against their ability to eat, which is again their health. And we believe this fellowship's purpose in being is based on the belief that people of faith can do more than provide basic food and commodities to folks who we'll collectively call Alice. And it's our hope that people of faith can be the vessels of poverty eradication so that Alice no longer exists. And so the Micah Fellowship Program, of course, is based out of that scripture in Micah 6:8.
Yes.
And, you know, there's so many different versions of it. And, you know, I guess I can remember that, but I think it's the English Standard Version. It says, he has told you what is good, he being God. I might many times say she or just God. God is not a man or a woman. But God has told you what is good, and what does God require of you? But to do justice, to love kindness, some interpretations say to love mercy, to love kindness, and to walk humbly with your God. And this is, for one, as I understand it, this is one of former Governor Winthrop Rockefeller's favorite verses. But it also is a guiding verse for the work that we hope to do through the Micah Fellowship Program, that we can bring from out of this theoretical space, and we can put it right here on the ground. What does justice look like when we're talking about folks who, when we talk about Alice? What does our love of kindness and mercy look like when we're talking about Alice? And what does humility, for those of us who in our faith tradition look at humility, humbleness, as some folks would say, as a virtue? You know, what does that look like when we're talking about Alice? And so, you know, it's an opportunity, and I think I want to make sure I emphasize this. It's an opportunity not only for clergy, right, but for folks who consider themselves faithful, folks who come from a particular faith tradition, and in particular folks who, and many times these are laypersons, you know, who are working within these particular contexts. You know, I think, for instance, of our own church, are some folks who'd be perfect for the Micah Fellowship Program, who have taken charge of our food pantry, you know, and how this program might help them imagine something beyond. Not that we would stop ever giving out food. I imagine that there'll be some folks who need some food, but you know, how do we extend ourselves? How do we extend our faith to include something more long term than those immediate needs, which we'll continue to take care of?
It sounds like this radical action, it's a combination. The Micah Fellows Program is a combination of faith and innovation. So you're bringing these people who are rooted in the spirit, who are invested in Arkansas, to solve some more complex problems. And I like that you said too, it could be a layperson. So for the fellowship program, break down what that's like. What will be the requirement, the timeline? What can someone expect if they apply and are accepted into the Micah Fellows Program?
Absolutely. So again, you know, we're on a pretty sharp timeline, and so looking forward to it. And we actually have about a few applicants at this point, okay. And you know, one of whom. It's been a long list of questions, which I was very grateful to get. She is a layperson who works with a network of churches, and so you know, grateful for her participation, because again, she's not somebody who you know, has had this clerical calling, but you know, somebody who has had this calling from the well of her own faith to do these things. So, but what the program will look like. One, it'll mirror an academic year, in that, you know, it'll go from September to May. Okay. I think a lot of folks can kind of deal with that, you know, that kind of time frame. But it'll be participation in a couple of cohort retreats. There'll be hybrid, in person, socially distanced, virtual, because this is a statewide thing. We get that, you know, our dear brothers and sisters who live might not be able to make a meeting in El Dorado. brothers and sisters of Fort Smith who might not be able to make it to Earl, Arkansas. I say Earl, my folks, there ain't no
Yes.
but we'll have monthly biblical, right, the great metropolis of Earl, Arkansas.
Yes, it is.
We'll
Speak
have
it.
monthly biblical, monthly biblical and theological text and readings that will inform, because one of the things that we're trying to get at is really the nuts and bolts of how our faith compels us to deal with these things. And sometimes our misreadings of the text connected to our faith has really dampened our approach to this. So we really want to engage the Bible in particular in understanding, to help us have a better understanding of ourselves as agents of this justice, mercy, and humility that Micah 6:8 prescribes. And then we'll have strategic trainings to learn more about the intersection of faith-based advocacy and anti-poverty. And then the praxis part, the practical part of the pieces, the thing that I think will most engage fellows is the creation of an individual action plan for each cohort member to implement an economic equality and anti-poverty and equity, economic equity project for their own community. And these projects, and here's some of the enticement, will be sponsored by funds provided from the Rockefeller Foundation and the Methodist Foundation of Arkansas. So, there are, I think, some experiential and practical pieces that I think a lot of folks will enjoy. And I think that's a valuable thing in a fellowship, the idea that, you're not coming to be lectured to. You don't take home just a pile of theory through which you work through. Not that that's, bad, but in the context of this fellowship, we're equipping folks, who already bring some of their own equipment to this, right? But we're further equipping folks, and then we're guiding them through a process of praxis. And, that process is undergirded by these funds that, so gratefully received from the Methodist Foundation and from Rockefeller.
Yeah, so we have theology, theory, and practical application, basically.
Absolutely.
Through this process.
Yeah. And some of the, and I guess this is less theory than reality. Some of it is, really helping us as Arkansans understand what poverty looks like here in Arkansas. I know we can throw around the general idea that Arkansas is one of the top 3-5 or so poorest states in the nation. But what exactly does that look like? Especially if you come from a congregation where most folks are work with the middle class, people look fine, and you don't really encounter any of these issues or problems or whatever. And so, really giving folks, we're doing a deep dive into what poverty looks like on the ground here in Arkansas.
So let's say I go to the website, I'm on the Micah Fellows Program page, I'm on the Winthrop Rockefeller Foundation page, and boom, here's the application. What can I expect in that? Because sometimes it's a little scary. You start filling out things and getting into it. What can someone expect when they're filling out the application, like timeline or some of the things that will be asked of them as they go through this process?
I think that this whole fellowship is a portable feast. And that there are certainly accommodations being made for the fact that we're not recruiting 18-year-olds to college.
Yes,
we're recruiting working folks. We're recruiting laborers, co-laborers, and that these are folks who are, again, coming from different and disparate parts of the state, for one. And so, we've been careful to make the correct kind of time and space accommodations for folks. And I think we've learned over this past year plus that, these virtual options are not only just as valid, but they create a level of access that would not otherwise have existed. And so I would just encourage folks to go to the application and to explore the application and to contact me if, you know, they have any questions. I've had a few folks contact me already, and that's part of you know what I've been tasked with in the general in the broad title as coordinator, faith coordinator. I'm not going to coordinate your faith. I'm not going to coordinate anybody's faith for them. You know, I'm just coordinating this specific project. And the inclination is to, you know, have a limited group. You know, we want to work within capacity, but have some geographical diversity, right? Mm-hmm. To have some denominational diversity, you know, and to have some diversity within the kind of work that folks are doing around issues of poverty, or the work folks are interested in around issues of poverty. So, you know, this is not, we want to receive 1,000 applications and then reject 99%. You know, It's not that kind of thing. You know, I think we would be best suited to bring in as many folks within reasonable limitations, because, you know, it's only so much money, only so much space, but bringing as many folks as are interested, especially in this inaugural class, by which I mean to say, you know, this is something that'll continue past its first group of graduating fellows in May of 2022.
I did that. I like what you said earlier too about the call, one of the people who've already applied. So moving through this process, it's like when you get the call, you answer. And I feel like a lot of Arkansans who are feeling the constraints of what it means to be ALIS, like half of our state. That's a big number. And a half that's still working 1 or 2 or 3 or more jobs.
Absolutely.
Like, I know that somebody is going to pick up the phone and it's like, pick me. I'm ready. How do we fix this? How do we solve this? And you're definitely a person who has been boots on the ground with a lot of, between the school board, our neighborhoods, Unity, definitely Kwanzaa, with my kids in the back. I just want you to give people a little more taste of who you are as the faith coordinator and just what it means to be the Ryan D. Davis and a proud Arkansan and a leader in our state.
Well, I guess what it means depends on where I am. It don't mean much at my house, you know, which is where I begin by explaining who I'm: a husband, a grateful husband, a happy father of 3 girls who, you know, don't care about what I might be publicly, which is fine. It's good. It's grounding. The girls are 11, 9, and 6. And everybody's getting older. Yeah, I know. I got a child going to middle school next year.
Man.
I know. Yeah, I know. And so, you know, that, of course, is a big part of who I am, a big part of what motivates me. I'm a native of Little Rock, South End. Southeast stand up. Yeah.
Southwest stand up.
Yeah, Southwest. All the city, like everything south of 630 at this city, you know, please go ahead and stand up. And you know, so that of course means something. I'm affected, sometimes inflicted, but most of the time, you know, inflicted in a good way by those parts of me. Of course, that it continues to make me who I am. You know, I'm you know, one of those folks who got the call to the ministry later in life than most folks. This year, 2021, is my 13th year in formal pastoral ministry. You know, and you know, took me out of law school into seminary, and you know, so I'm an associate pastor at Bullock Temple CME Church, right there across the street from the Little Rock Central High School.
Historic, my school, class 01.
As we say in church, on the corner of hope and history.
Yes.
I'm a program director at University of Arkansas Little Rock, family and youth-based programs. The work that I really, really enjoy. Love to work with these folks. I mean, so many different things. I mean, I think any individual person could say that we're all puzzles of, you know, with pieces from everywhere. And you know, outside of that, I'm, you know, I will finally acknowledge myself as a musician. You know, me and when I say me and like I'm David Ruff or something, but the
Yes.
Funkanites, the Funkanites of whom I'm part. Ain't nobody come to see.
Ain't nobody come to see you, Otis.
Right. Remember the Funkanites? I can't wait for us to get back out there. You know, I play percussions and sing, and you know, I feel really, really, really fortunate because you know I grew up Alice. You understand what I'm saying? And so you know, I know some folks kind of wear that as a badge of honor. You know, oh, I got it up out the mud. And, you know, if I honor anybody, I honor the adults of my life who made my transition from childhood to adulthood easy, despite you know, that Alice designation and all of the things connected to that. And I suppose I could go on, but I mean, you know, I think we could all spend a whole day talking about the pieces that make us up.
Well, you are definitely well suited for this position as faith coordinator of the Micah Fellows Program. You're one of the best people I know. You're my brother. I'm so elated that you'll be one of the people leading the charge with the Rockefeller Foundation, along with the other organizations that have contributed so much. And we're going to get the word out there. So people who are watching, please share this with your networks. See if the phone is ringing in the background, if something is calling to you to apply, and be sure to keep informed, in tune with all things Micah Fellows Program, because this is, I believe, this intersectionality of faith and innovation is going to really help take our state to the next level, where we don't have to be on top of lists where we're in the bottom of the mud, where we can really pull ourselves up to a more equitable place of abundance.
Can I say this? I think the church not only has an affirmative responsibility, but the church has an outmoded personality in states like Arkansas.
Yes.
You know, and so it really is, you know, when we talk about viability, you know, if you talk about folks with the most viable voice, when we're talking to folks in seats of power in our government, you know, it really is people in the faith community who can push the envelope. It really is the folks who from their pulpits can convince some of the folks who we send to the legislators, to our city councils, the city boards, to various other governing bodies. We convince them that this is what thus saith the Lord about what you're doing down there in that seat of power. You know, and so, you know, I think it's time for the church to bring, you know, our thoughts and prayers to the fore. You know, there's this great international star, Robert Nesta Marley.
Yes.
Who said, you know, we have to undergird our hopes and dreams with ways and means. And I would say for the church, we have to undergird our thoughts and prayers with those same things, with the ways and the means of you know, bringing something to bear for the sake of the least of these. And you know, I didn't say this before. Can I add something?
Add whatever you like. We are here.
Just want to add that I am available to answer any questions to anyone interested in applying. I'm available to answer any questions for those who want to suggest that somebody. I had a pastor call me and said that he has an associate on his staff who thinks would be perfect. If you're out there, pastors, if you have an associate on your staff who you think would be perfect, if you have a lay person in your congregation who you think would be perfect, if you have a person living in your community who's not necessarily connected to the church, but who is working by faith to do these things, I would encourage you to contact me at coordinator@micahfellowsprogram.org. coordinator@micahfellowsprogram.org. And I'm more than happy also to extend my cell phone number to you, 501-749-6166, excuse me. I'll serve as the point of connection between the cohort planning team, between the communities from which we draw fellows, with the churches, and you know, and also, you know, help to deal with some of the curricular parts of this. But my primary role and my joy in that role is to connect with folks and to, you know, to make this as useful and enjoyable an experience as possible.
I dig you on that. We are both conduits of community and just bringing people together. So y'all heard them. Coordinator at MicahFellowsProgram.org. I gave you the cell phone number. Done gave you every way you can reach them. And make sure that you follow Micah Fellows Program on Facebook and Instagram, and also the Winthrop Rockefeller Foundation, who continues to do this work and really be Arkansas centric. They are trying to bring the whole state up and relentlessly pursue equity. And I believe that we will attain it. So anything else you want to add before we wrap, Brian? I know everybody has gotten a lot of good, deep information. I feel full. This has been, I'm just like sitting on the edge of the porch, like listening to the elders.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Well, that's it. I mean, until next time, we'll see y'all.